The wind was not natural in the dead valleys of Drexen. It screamed like it remembered pain and loss. The human thief named Kale crouched low under a dead tree, his cloak covered in dust and ash. In his hand, he held a stolen map with glowing symbols no human should ever touch. The portal was real. He had seen its light with his own eyes. And guarding it was not a machine, nor a demon, nor even death. It was a girl. An alien girl with wings darker than night, standing at the edge of the Underworld. She was beautiful, but her presence was terrifying. Kale had never failed a heist. He had stolen royal codes, starship cores, and even outwitted warlords, but this place felt different. As if time itself held its breath around her. As if hell did not just begin beyond the gate, but within her. She did not move. Her crimson eyes watched him from across the stone path. She did not blink. She did not speak. But Kale knew the stories. The portal led to a prison buried in fire. It could only open by blood and only close with a soul. No one had ever returned from the Underworld, not even ghosts. But Kale wasn't after survival. He was after something hidden inside. Something that could change the war forever. Something she was born to protect. 10 hours earlier, his crew had landed in the Vale using a stolen Zenthian transport. 4 of them had entered the ruins. Now Kale was the only one left. The others had vanished in seconds. Not a scream. Not a trace. Just shadows and silence. He studied her again. Tall, armored in ancient black metal, marked with runes. Her wings arched high and curved like blades. In her hands, a red staff hummed softly. It was no weapon Kale had seen before. It was alive. His boots shifted on the stone. She still did not move. The portal behind her burned like a green star. The air was hot, but not from fire, from power. From rage trapped for centuries under chains made of sorrow. "Who are you?" he finally whispered, not expecting an answer. But she tilted her head slowly, and the glow of the portal flared brighter. A voice, soft and cold, replied inside his mind. Not through sound, but thought. "I am the lock. I am the blade. I am the last warning before the world burns again," she said. Kale's throat dried. He wasn't here for riddles. He needed the Ember Key. It was inside the Gate of Souls. His contact on Therax 6 swore it still burned there. If he stole it, he could buy safety for all of Earth's colonies. End the siege. Save billions, but to take it, he had to trick her. Or kill her. Or be faster than her. None of those sounded wise. Still, he had come too far to stop now. The choice was gone. His fingers moved slowly toward his belt. A flash grenade. Modified with an invisibility pulse. The alien girl's eyes narrowed. She felt it. Or smelled it. Or maybe she saw through time itself. Kale stopped breathing. The grenade remained untouched. She did not attack. Instead, she raised her free hand. The portal pulsed like a heartbeat. The ground shook. The last thief tried to vanish too, she said into his mind. He now guards the inner gate. Screaming without voice, burning without flame. Would you like to join him? Kale forced a smile. I'm not like him, he said. I came for peace, and a chance to fix the war. But even as he spoke, his heart raced like drums of a funeral. She stepped forward. Just one step, enough to silence the wind. Her wings stretched, covering the entire archway. Behind her, shapes moved in the green light. Faces, claws, and something ancient waiting for her to fail. Kale's plan had seconds left. Either he distracted her and ran through the portal, or he vanished and reappeared inside. He whispered a final code into his wristband. A flicker surrounded him. Not full invisibility, just enough to blur his shape. Just enough to take a step. The girl did not blink. She let him move. 1 step, 2, and then, as he crossed the gate's edge, her staff struck the ground. The portal screamed. The wind exploded. The stars above turned red, and Kale realized he had not fooled her at all. He had been allowed in. Because what waited on the other side wasn't just fire and keys. It was something that needed a human to enter, and now, the seal would close behind him forever. Kale stumbled forward as the light swallowed him whole. The green fire burned across his skin, but it did not hurt. It searched him. It judged him. Then it let him fall into the depths beyond the gate. He landed on black stone, smooth like glass but cold like death. The air was thick and buzzing with whispers in 100 dead languages. He rose slowly, dusted off his coat, and looked up at the endless red sky. This was not hell. This was its heart. And something had just awakened. All around him were towers shaped like claws, ruins glowing with trapped souls, and chains that slithered. Without a source, there was no sun. Only veins of molten green stretching through the sky like cracks in the skin of a god. Kale touched his earpiece, but static screamed into his head. No signal, no outside help, only silence. He was alone, and the portal behind him had already faded into a shimmering wall of light. He took a careful step forward. His boots echoed like thunder. Somewhere deeper in the black maze ahead, the Ember Key waited. If it still existed, it would be in the Vault of Sorrow, guarded by beings older than memory. As he walked, statues began to appear, each one different. Some were human, others were alien. All of them frozen in terror, reaching out or screaming in agony. None of them moved. But their eyes seemed to follow him. He passed a statue of a young girl with her hands over her face. The name etched into the base was in Earth script. His breath caught in his throat. That was the language of the resistance. Someone had come here before him. Someone human. And they never came back. A soft growl echoed across the stone floor. Kale stopped and spun around. Nothing moved. But the sound came again, closer this time. Low and wet like a beast with too many mouths. He drew his plasma blade. It hissed to life, casting pale blue light across the dark hall. He raised it high. Scanning the corners, shadows twisted. Then one moved. From the black came a creature like nothing he'd seen. 10 feet tall, skin like molten tar, teeth that curled inward. But its eyes were familiar. They glowed green. The same green as the portal. Kale slashed before it struck. Sparks exploded. The blade cut into its arm, but did not stop it. The creature roared, grabbed him, and slammed him against the wall. Pain cracked through his spine. With a desperate kick, Kale freed himself and rolled aside. He threw a thermal flare at its feet. The explosion tossed it back. Smoke filled the hall. He ran without looking back. He found a stairway leading downward. The walls were carved with symbols glowing dimly, shifting when stared at too long. They pulled at his mind like hands reaching from the past. At the bottom, a door stood. Gigantic. Sealed, covered in runes. A single handprint burned into its center. It pulsed softly. It was human-shaped. Kale hesitated. Then slowly, he raised his hand and pressed it against the mark. The door shook. The light vanished. Then it opened with a whisper that felt like a scream held in for 1,000 years. Inside was a massive room. In its center floated a crystal of pure green fire, chained by silver threads that moved like living serpents. The Ember Key. It still burned. Kale stepped toward it. Every part of him screamed to stop. His bones felt heavier. The light tried to enter his skin. His memories shifted, like dreams turning into nightmares. He reached for the key. His fingers brushed the chains. A voice filled the chamber. Her voice. The guardian from the portal. But it was not in his head this time. It echoed all around. You were not chosen. You were bait, she said. Kale turned. She stood at the edge of the room. Her wings no longer spread. Her staff gone. But her eyes still burned. Why did you let me in? Kale demanded. To awaken it, she replied. It needed a thief. A mind clever enough to reach it. A soul reckless enough to touch it. You are the final spark. Kale looked at the key. It now pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. What happens if I take it? He asked. The portal behind her began to open again. But this time, it did not lead back to the world. It opened downward. Into something far deeper. She looked at him with something close to sorrow. Then hell will never close again. Kale's hand hovered over the chains as the key pulsed faster. The green flames inside the crystal twisted into shapes, forming faces that cried out without sound. His mind trembled, and for a moment, he forgot why he had come. He closed his eyes and forced the memories back into place. Earth was still burning. The colonies were under siege. Billions of lives depended on him finding this very key. He had no time for fear. You used me, Kale said through gritted teeth. The Guardian. Step closer. Her eyes glowed brighter in the darkness. No, she said, her voice calm but final. I gave you a choice, and you made it. Now the gate remembers your name. Kale's blade was still in his hand. He pointed it at her. Then move aside. I'll take the key, save my people, and close the portal myself. She did not flinch. Touch the key, and it binds to your soul. Forever, its hunger becomes your shadow. Your blood becomes the seal. There is no return from that path. Kale looked at the chain again. He didn't care what price it demanded. He had crossed fire and darkness to get here. He had lost his crew, his friends. His mind, he would not lose the mission. I accept the price, he said. The chains unwrapped slowly, as if pleased. The crystal floated down into his hands, burning with cold fire. It did not hurt, but it filled him with something heavy. Like gravity pressing inward from every direction, he gasped. Visions burst into his mind. He saw the first war between daemons and stars. He saw ancient beings carving the underworld into the bones of a dead god. He saw the girl the Guardian standing at the gate, again and again. Across time, you are part of it now, she said softly. The key chooses its bearer. But its hunger must be fed. What does that mean? Kale asked, his voice trembling. The seal can only be closed if a life equal to its fire is given willingly, she replied. And the fire now burns in you. Suddenly the walls around them cracked. Green lightning burst through the stone. The key had awakened. Something sleeping below. The floor split apart. From the depths rose creatures of ash and bone, howling with hollow mouths. Kale backed away, clutching the key. The room shook violently. The Guardian raised her staff once more. It reappeared in her hand like it had never left. This is your final test, she said. If you cannot survive, the seal breaks. If you flee, the fire spreads. If you fight, you may hold it back. Kale nodded. No more questions. Only purpose. Only survival. He charged at the first beast, slicing through its chest. It dissolved into smoke. Another lunged from the side. He rolled under its claw and struck its back. Flames poured from its mouth as it fell. The Guardian fought beside him. Her staff swept wide, creating waves of energy that shattered entire groups of monsters. She was fury and grace combined, dancing through death as if she had done this 1,000 times. Kale bled. His arms burned. But he did not fall. Every swing of his blade felt heavier. Every step cracked the ground beneath him. The key was not just feeding on him, it was becoming him. As the last creature fell, silence returned. The room now glowed with pulsing veins of fire. Kale dropped to his knees, breathless, trembling. You are still alive, she said. Barely, he replied. Forcing a weak grin, she helped him stand. Then we move, the final chamber awaits. And the seal must be closed before dawn reaches your world. Or the underworld will open in every sky. Kale followed her through a broken arch into a dark hallway. He held the ember key tight. It now pulsed not just with power but with his heartbeat. There was no turning back. The hallway narrowed with every step. The walls pressed closer, covered in carvings that shifted when not looked at directly. Kale's breath echoed louder than his. Footsteps. The ember key in his hand throbbed like a second heart. Behind him, the guardian moved like a shadow, silent and watchful. She had not spoken since they left the chamber. But Kale could feel her gaze burning into his back. "What's ahead?" he asked without turning. "The heart of the gate," she replied. "The final lock. And the only place where the key can be sealed." They entered a vast circular chamber. The ceiling spun slowly, revealing stars and fire through its cracks. In the center stood a pedestal made of black stone. It was shaped like a rib cage, open and waiting. Kale stepped forward. "This is it?" "Yes," she said. "But it cannot be sealed with your hands alone. The key demands a willing bond, a soul to match its fire. Without it, it will burn through you and tear the portal wide open." Kale looked at the pedestal. The fire in the key flickered wildly now. It sensed the end. It hungered. "And if I give myself to it?" he asked. "Then the gate will remain closed," she said. "But you will remain here. Forever, as its new guardian. Just like me." He turned sharply to face her. "You mean you were once like me?" Her silence answered him. Then she spoke, voice softer now. "I was once a traveler, like you. I carried a different key, a different burden. I sealed a different gate, but all gates lead here. All flames feed the same fire." Kale stepped back from the pedestal. "There has to be another way. If I seal this, I'm gone. Earth will never know what happened. The colonies will never be saved." She walked toward him. Her wings folded behind her. Her staff vanished. Her voice became almost human. "There's another way. But it is worse." He narrowed his eyes. "Tell me, you give the key to someone else, force the burden on another soul. The gate seals, and you walk free, but their blood becomes your freedom. Their fire feeds your survival. That is the price of escape." Kale stared at her. "And you think I'd do that?" "You are a thief," she said calmly. "You take what others protect. You calculate what others fear. I don't think you would do it, but the gate does. That's why it chose you." Kale looked down at the key. The fire now showed faces, some of his lost crew, some of his childhood. One of his brother, laughing before the bombs fell. All of them fading into ash. "I never wanted this," he said. "No one does," she replied. The ground shook. The ceiling cracked. A scream of ancient rage echoed across the chamber. The portal was awakening on the other side. The timeline was closing. Kale stepped toward the pedestal again. His fingers curled around the key. The guardian placed a hand on his shoulder. "Once you place it, there is no return. Not even memory escapes this place." He looked up at her. "Then remember me," he said. "I will," she replied. Kale placed the key into the heart of the pedestal. The fire exploded upward like a pillar, swallowing the room in green light. His body froze. His voice vanished. His name scattered into dust. And in that moment, the chamber began to change. The flames rose higher, but Kale didn't scream. His voice had been claimed the moment the key touched the pedestal. Green fire consumed his body without burning it. His eyes stared forward, blank, yet filled with starlight. The pedestal closed around the ember key, locking it inside a black cage of ancient bone. The fire pulsed once, then calmed. The gate had accepted its price. The chamber walls changed shape. The carvings melted into new forms. Where once were chains and faces of the damned, now grew symbols of balance and silence. A heartbeat echoed from the floor. The portal had gone back to sleep. The guardian stood beside the pedestal. her expression unreadable. Her wings shimmered with new color, touched by the light Kale had left behind. She stared into the green flames for a long time. Then she turned. A doorway had formed in the far wall. It glowed with soft white light, not of the underworld, but something older. Something that did not belong here. She walked toward it. Her steps were slow. Her staff no longer hummed. Her armor faded into flowing fabric, soft and silver. She passed through the doorway into a space between stars. There Kale stood, whole, alive, but not human anymore. His body was shaped from fire and memory. His eyes held no fear. He looked at her and smiled. "I thought I was gone," he said. "You are," she replied. "But this is what comes after. The place between endings." He looked down at his hands. Flames curled from his fingers, but they did not burn. They danced like thoughts given form. He understood now what the key had done. It had not destroyed him, it had transformed him. "I'm the seal," he whispered. She nodded. "Yes, and I was only the guide." Around them, the stars began to shift. The air was weightless. Their words became thoughts. Their steps became echoes. Time moved like a slow tide. "Will they be safe?" Kale asked. "Earth, the colonies." "Everyone, for now," she said. "But gates never stay closed forever. And when it opens again, you will be here to stop it." Kale looked back at the doorway they had passed through. It was closing slowly, sealing behind them. No one else would enter, not without paying the price. "What happens to you now?" he asked. She smiled for the first time in an age. "I go where forgotten guardians go. I return to the stars." Kale felt something shift in his chest. Not pain, not joy, just purpose. "Thank you," he said. She vanished into light, leaving him standing alone among the stars. But he did not feel alone. The fire inside him burned calmly now. Not with hunger, but with duty. Below, far below, the portal remained. Sealed, the underworld slept. The map Kale had followed turned to ash in the real world. And the last stone of the ruined veil fell into silence. But in the minds of the next generation, a new story was beginning. The stars above the underworld shifted silently, as if they too had felt the sealing of the gate. Far across the galaxy, on a colony known as New Bastion, something stirred inside a forgotten archive. An encrypted signal blinked to life on a dusty console. No one had touched that system in over 50 years. It carried no name, no voice, only coordinates and one pulsing symbol, a flame surrounded by a circle. The resistance base picked it up by accident. A junior tech flagged it. No one believed it mattered. Until the ancient language was translated, he sealed it. He became the key. Word spread across the colonies. Whispers of a human thief who vanished in the Vale of Drexen. Whispers of a portal that had not opened since. Some called it myth. Others believed. A few feared it might open again. Captain Ira Thorne of Earth's new defense fleet read the decrypted message herself. Her eyes narrowed. Her father had once told her bedtime stories of a thief who saved the world from fire. She had never believed them until now. She summoned her science advisor, Dr. Corin, a Zenthian with pale skin and cybernetic veins. He reviewed the signal and confirmed its origin. The energy signature matched records from the lost Ember Key. Expedition. "This message came from the sealed gate," he said. "But it's been decades," Ira replied. "Time moves differently near the underworld," Corin explained. "He could still be alive. Or what remains of him could be trying to speak." Ira stared at the flame symbol. "Prepare a stealth recon." "I want eyes on the veil," Corin hesitated. "You'd risk reopening it?" "No," she said firmly. "I want to make sure it stays closed." Meanwhile, in the heart of the seal, Kale stood among the stars. But now the sky around him began to shift. He felt the signal he had sent. A single thought pushed into the void. A warning and a hope. He could not leave this place, but he could still reach beyond it. The key inside him had bonded with time, and through that connection, he felt movement in the universe again. Someone was coming, a new generation. One that had only heard legends. One that did not understand what the gate had cost to seal. He knew the fire was watching. The portal still whispered. The chains still rattled in their sleep. If disturbed, the cycle would begin again. He would be ready. Below the surface of Drexen, the ruins remained cold, silent, but deep beneath the sealed chamber, the stone cracked once more. A green spark leaked through, just a flicker. Then silence. Returned. In orbit above the planet, a stealth vessel arrived. It carried no weapons, only sensors. Only knowledge seekers. Ira watched from the command chair as the ship descended through the thick atmosphere. "Whatever's down there," she whispered, "we don't wake it. We only listen." The ship landed near the ancient ruins. The scanners lit up instantly. Energy readings matched those of the ancient flame. Still active, still waiting, Cale felt them as they crossed the surface. He did not stop them, but his thoughts stretched outward once more. He was not guardian of the key anymore. He was the key, and the galaxy was still choosing whether to lock the gate or break it. The wind in the Vale of Drexen had returned, soft at first, brushing across the rocks like forgotten breath. The portal remained sealed, but the ground above it had begun to warm. Captain Ira stood at the edge of the ancient pit. Her boots crunched against the scorched stone. She stared into the ruins, feeling a weight press on her chest. It was not fear. It was memory, someone else's memory. Now shared through flame, she held the datapad with Cale's transmission. Her fingers gripped it tightly. "We don't disturb anything," she reminded her team. "This place is sacred." Corinne nodded beside her. "But we need answers. The colonies want proof of what happened. They want to know if the key still burns." Ira descended the cracked stairs alone. Her team waited above. Each step felt heavier. She passed the broken statues, the symbols etched in pain. She walked the same path Cale had taken long ago. The pedestal chamber remained undisturbed. No creatures, no flames. Just silence. But as she stepped inside, the room stirred. Not physically but spiritually. The pedestal pulsed once. Just a blink of green. Ira raised her hand slowly. Her fingers hovered above the stone. Then her vision blurred. A voice entered her thoughts. Calm, deep, human. "You found it," Cale said. She turned her head, but saw no one. Only starlight across the walls. Only the memory of fire. "Are you still alive?" She whispered. "I am sealed within the gate," Cale replied. "Not living, not dead, but aware, watching, guarding. I felt you crossing the surface. I remembered my name again because of you." Ira took a slow breath. "What do you want me to do?" "Leave it closed," Cale said. "Tell them the gate is not a myth. Tell them I chose this. And tell them the fire can only be kept asleep by those who give everything." Ira nodded. "I will. Then I give you this," Cale said. The pedestal pulsed again. A small spark rose from its center and floated into her hand. It did not burn. It felt like warmth during winter. Like truth wrapped in silence. A single ember of the sealed flame. "For remembrance," he said. "So they never forget what was buried here." The light faded. The room fell still. The pedestal closed again. The seal was untouched. No gate opened. No fire spilled. Ira returned to the surface. The sky was darker now, stars clearer. She handed the ember to Corinne and spoke firmly. "We published the truth, unedited, unchanged, no more hiding." And across the galaxy, the story of the thief who sealed hell spread once more. Not as a warning, but as a vow. That some would always rise when others fell. That some would guard the flame so others could live in peace. Deep within the underworld, Kale stood in silence. Not alone, not forgotten. His fire still burned, not as a weapon, but as a shield. The gate remained shut, and the galaxy kept breathing.